JTrain podcast. This is JTrain, Jared Freid, coming live from the West Village of Manhattan. That's right. Every Monday, we read your emails, we read your stories, we take your questions, and I want to thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for telling a friend. That's how this whole thing works. You tell a friend, a coworker, a brother, a sister, a mama, a papa. You know what feels good? Hearing the story of how you found this show. I love when someone's like, my friend told my other friend who told a drifter in a forest, and then that drifter, found me in an alley and said, listen to the JTrain podcast. I love those stories. It feathers this podcaster's nuts to hear how you found the show, that you enjoy the show, that you enjoy sharing it. These are discussion starters. These questions are meant to be talked about with the group chat, to tell a friend about. Did you hear the email about this situation, that situation? Did you hear what Jared said? Did you hear what his guest said? These are all fun ways to connect with your brother, your sister, your mama, your papa, anyone with ears, and the earless community as well. So thank you for listening. Keep telling your friends. Keep sharing the word of this podcast. That's how it works. And I'm going to be on the road. People, I want you to come to a show. Bring the group chat. I got a whole new thing going. I'm writing all the time. I'm always writing. I'm always sitting there, candlelight, with my big feather pen, just whittling out my jokes, my ha's. And it's all to make you have a good time. So I want you to bring your friends. I want you to bring your coworkers, your brothers, your sisters, your mamas, your papas, anyone with ears, the earless community as well. I'm going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, Chicago. We got a theater show, Chicago. Come on. Buffalo, New York, Royal Oak, Michigan, Albany, New York, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Timonium, Maryland, Richmond, Virginia. JaredFree.com for tickies. If you've seen me before, I'm trying to have new jokes. Right now I'm in the period of time where it's like, I got a 45-minute set that I'm like ready to tape. And now I have this other, so that's like super tight. So and then you start doing these new jokes and they are loose, fatty, gross, disgusting, not ready. But sometimes that's more fun to watch. That's more fun to be a part of. Sometimes that involves me talking to the crowd and being like, what do you think? Asking questions, trying to crowdsource where your minds are at. It's a whole process, and I enjoy doing it, so I want you guys to come to a show. It will be fun. I know it's a weird way to sell your show, to be like, yeah, I'm working on it. But that's kind of what a live stand-up show is. You're not getting, a special's different than the stand-up show. The stand-up show, the live show, is a living, breathing, that person's talking to that person, and you're getting, it's a tight wire act. The special is the finished version. It's a little polished. That's why it's different. But I'm down. Listen, I'm tangenting here. So listen, come to a show. JaredFree.com. See my fat jokes. Very excited. Today's guest, new to the JTrain podcast, hilarious comic, Sam Evans. Thank you for coming on.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's very exciting to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Very professional.
Thank you so much.
Everyone go follow Sam. Hilarious comic. I see him all over New York City. We've never really hung out.
That's true. This is it's interesting to hang out for the first time on the podcast.
Yeah. But here's the thing. So I was looking for something before we started. The reason I thought of you, and I know it was kind of random, sent you a message, but we need guests, and I see you around. I know you're funny. I know people who love you, and you're friends with. I got a message from this woman who follows me, being like, "I just saw this comedian." I get people that write me going, "Have them on the show."
Really?
This person saw you at the stand, and I was looking for the message that they sent me because they messaged me about, and I saw the message and was like, acknowledged. I was like, but sometimes you're just like, not booking, and then they wrote back to another Instagram story of mine, and above it was their message saying, have Sam Evans on the show. And they go, he was so funny, they loved you, they saw you at the stand, and they were like, I want you to have him on the show.
Oh, that's very nice.
Isn't that the greatest compliment in the world? They came to me.
So sweet.
I wanted to tell you that on the show. And I go, and so last night, Shelby and I are texting, and it's weird because with booking guests, it's like one of the more annoying parts of having a podcast.
Sure.
Because you're like, it's just hard to plan anything with friends.
Yeah.
Never mind someone that you're like, you do feel like you're kind of inconveniencing. You're asking someone to take time out of their day.
Yeah.
It's a Monday. Come over. Comics, we work at night.
Sure.
There is an element of like, please come on my podcast. And I hope, the hope is you guys all go follow Sam and you feel like you've gotten something out of this experience. Of course, we're going to have fun. We're going to answer your emails, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Great emails today, by the way. Shelby, really crushing it on finding the goods. So, and you guys are sending the goods. So, but you want you to have like a good experience, but you do feel like you're like, hey, can you give me a ride to the airport?
It's so much better than a ride to the airport, I promise you. But sure, it's it's very exciting, and I was thrilled to be asked. And also, that is so nice.
How nice is that?
Yeah,
and they said, they go, he's a Jewish comedian. I didn't know you were Jewish.
I'm absolutely not Jewish.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Their whole thing was based on you being Jewish. Maybe they liked you for the wrong reasons.
Honored to be mistaken for one of the tribe.
It came in with tattoos. I was like, I don't think he's Jewish.
Yeah.
Literally, till this moment, I was like, I don't think he's Jewish. But that was like a big. Maybe she said you had a Jewish demeanor. There was Jew.
Sure.
Was a part of her message.
My best friend is Jewish and often has been like, you're sure you're not at all Jewish because you have a lot of Jewish guilt. And I was
okay.
like,
Where did you grow up?
Ohio, Midwest, Northwest
You
Ohio.
look Ohio.
Yeah.
If someone's like Sam Evans from Ohio, I go, yeah. Tracks.
Very.
Sam Evans Jewish, I go, what?
Yeah. It's a guilt complex.
Where in Ohio?
Northwest Ohio, suburbs of Toledo.
Toledo. I've been.
Yeah.
Toledo Funny Bone. I've been to that club.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I went to school in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where
The Natty?
The Natty.
You
University
started
of
in
Cincinnati. Yeah.
Now, how old are you, Sam?
I'm 36.
So we're the same age,
Yeah.
similar age. I'm 37. When I started comedy, there was this Cincinnati crew that came to New York.
Absolutely.
People don't understand. When you start comedy, I started in New York City, which is not normal. Usually it's like you start in your hometown or wherever you're like college age, young and kind of impressionable, and then you get your 5 minutes together, or you like it enough to go, I'm moving to the big city, I'm going to try and do comedy.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember I was in open mics, and it's like my first year doing comedy, and then there was this, and what you find is people kind of move together. Mm-hmm. You know, you'll have that group of people that are like, one person's like, I'm going to New York, and I think everyone else goes, well, if they can go,
I can go. Yeah.
But there's a group of you that you guys all kind of came at the same time.
Yes. I was the very, very tail. There was I want to say 4 or 5 guys.
Andrew Short, Reed Failer,
Dave Waite,
Brendan Ayer,
Mark Shalafu. Well, Brendan Ayer was Cleveland, but he was also in that
group. And it was the Go Bananas group.
Yeah.
And everyone go, and I've never performed at Go Bananas. I performed at the Funny Bone that was 20 minutes north of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But that club seems like it
was the
you need a place to. It is like very Malcolm Gladwellian, where it's like, because there's a comedy club, there is a scene.
Yes.
Because they nurture young comics and give them a space, then you find that there's more comics from one area or another, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Not just the comedy club, but the very, very nice to local talent, which is not always the case. And
not always.
Yeah.
Like you need a weird Mother Goose person to exist to have your place be a comedy,
absolutely,
breeding ground.
Yeah. And that was the GM, this guy Mikey Kurtz, who was if Mother Goose did a little too much cocaine, then that is Mother Goose.
Cocaine Mother Goose.
Yeah.
Sniffly Mother Goose.
Yes.
That's hilarious. But it is true. And I remember this whole group coming.
Yeah.
So it's funny, there will be a time that someone's like, Cincinnati, that's where all these comics are from, right? People do that with Boston.
For sure.
But now there's new areas that do. Austin, Texas. Nashville, Tennessee. Denver, huge comedy. If you're in these towns, I know I name off my dates, you should go to local shows.
Truly, yeah. There are some wildly good local scenes around
right.
the
and
country.
We know them, but I do know that some people are just like, what?
Yeah.
That exists here?
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're in these towns, go to these local shows. Sam Evans, you're here, you're ready, you're in a relationship?
Just recently started seeing a lady. Yeah.
How did it start?
Very fresh. Friend of a friend. This is my best friend's wife's best friend.
That's probably the upper echelon of meetings.
Yeah.
That is like the Rolls Royce of of first dates.
Yeah.
Because we have a listenership, we're going to get a lot of emails that would give advice, and they're about, a lot of them are dating and relationship emails.
Yeah.
You know, so you go on that first date where I would be like hesitant because it's my best friend's wife's best friend.
Yeah.
This is like going out with, you know, someone I definitely will be seeing again.
100%. I was like, you can't, I have said this to her before. I was like, you can't be on some fuckboy shit. Right? I was like, I had to be like, I think I do want to go out with you and genuinely be like, this person is nice. She's very attractive.
Right.
I know I like being around her. I'm going to take a chance and see how this goes.
Well, it's funny because we have a lot of women that write in, and it is, sometimes the answers to their question, like that is an answer to someone's question. Why won't this guy go out? I know what I'm an animal.
Yeah.
I know what I'm capable of hurting and doing badly, and not in the intentional way, but it's like, I'm going out with certain, there are people I'm meeting and I'm like, I want to fuck this person, not thinking of any other consequence in the world.
Sure.
And then there's people that you get present. This is why the dating apps, people are having such horrific stories from men. And I'm not apologizing for it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying when when you strip out consequence,
Sure.
people act, in an animalistic way.
Yeah. And you are, at its base, whether people want to admit it or not, you are there on some level for animalistic desire. Right?
And we, all of us are. Gender,
Yeah.
throw away the gender stuff.
Yeah.
But you go, and that has to exist. It's like danger has to exist for love to be produced. It's like,
Absolutely.
It's like crazy. And danger being, I want to fuck,
Sure.
and that without caring about someone's feelings.
Yeah, and what's going to happen.
Right. So when you go into this, because if I was presented, hey, you got to meet my friend, it's my best friend, I'd be like, okay, I have to be so ready.
Yeah. And
So you felt that way?
It took me a while, yeah, because I have been single for over a year now, and I was on
Your fuckboy shit.
my hoe renaissance, just fucking getting out there. And then I finally got to a place where I was like, I do think I want to date somebody like sincerely, and like maybe approach a relationship and stuff like that. And so I was finally like, okay, I will go out with this person.
And it does feel douchey to say that, right? Because
Sure.
you're like, I'll see her.
I'll deign. I'm fine with
I'll
it now.
grace her with my presence,
Yes.
like as if she's just been waiting
Yeah.
for Sam to stop fucking.
Oh, my liege. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, listen, we're going to get into some relationship emails. Let's get into it. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Everyone go follow Sam Evans, @ReallySamEvans. Go follow @ReallySamEvans on all platforms. Instagram. We'll be tagging in all the accounts. Listen, there's a JTrain account now. So JTrain Podcast, @JTrain Podcast has all. And here's my pitch on why you should follow JTrain Podcast, because one, you can follow Sam Evans from there, who has an album out called Sweet Baby Boy. We do this a lot. I hope I'm explaining this correctly, but wherever you stream music, Sam Evans is there. And you can search Sam Evans in Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream music. So if you're paying for streaming of music, you have the ability to take I call it the comedy album is the cousin to the podcast. You're going to feel like you're in the room. Where did you tape it?
Go Bananas.
Go Bananas. Look at that. The club. This all makes sense. You're at Go Bananas, your home club. You taped an album. It is an hour of funny just waiting for you. It's waiting. So go search Sam Evans or Sweet Baby Boy. It's on iTunes, Spotify, wherever. You can buy the album too. But I always promote you're paying anyways.
Yeah.
Get involved. So go follow @ReallySamEvans. And also, so the JTrain Podcast account is on Instagram. Go follow it, because here's the thing. I know you're not listening to every episode. We're putting the videos up, the clips, because you'll go, oh, shit, that's a good one. Or, oh, I know that guest. Or, oh, I want to meet that guest. So @JTrain Podcast on Instagram. He goes soft every time. What if I was like, yeah, we brought you in. I heard some things about you. Had to bring in the expert.
Truly, you don't know how close to home that hit. Where I was like, did I black out and write this podcast an email?
Dear Papa JT, I've been seeing a recently divorced man for the last 3 months. He is the brother of a friend, and I always had a crush on him. But obviously, as a married man, he was off limits. Our chemistry is off the charts. We are insanely attracted to each other. Hot makeouts, easy laughs, tons in common, always touching, flirting, etc. It's the way a brand new relationship should be. He's all in on me and very serious about a future. Our problem is what happens in the bedroom when we really start getting down to business. Things start off hot. He's always fully stimulated and standing at attention. Without fail, as soon as we start to have sex, oral, etc., he goes limp. The first few times, he blamed it on alcohol, which I could understand. The next few times, he said it was weird for him to be with another woman and he's just nervous. This has happened countless times, easily over 15 times in a row. Now he's saying that he's intimidated by me and also very self-conscious about pleasing me. I tell him constantly how hot he is, how good it all feels. For background, I am his first relationship and sexual encounter after a 16-year marriage. I consider myself a very sexual person and sex is extremely important to me in a relationship. Here's the question. Are we somehow just not sexually compatible despite the chemistry? Should I be patient? The problem is that that the more it's happening, the more we talk about it, the more stage fright he has. It's also making me very paranoid about my own performance. Overall, just not sexy talking about our sexual problems. I find myself getting frustrated and it shows. He is getting defensive. I want to cut him loose to avoid any more suffering for both of us, but afraid I'm giving up on something great. Mrs. Softy. What do we think?
First of all,
that didn't make him feel better.
The best sign off of any email I've ever heard in my life, Mrs. Softy.
What do you think?
I'll be honest. This is something that I have this issue initially with a new person sexually, not to this extent,
right?
But especially if I'm into somebody, the first time at least, I will not be able to get it up. It's like nerves or something. It's there.
And let me just say this. Sometimes you say something about one side and it means you're saying something about another. I'm not saying men aren't monsters. But the empathy from women of sexual performance from men and their ability to get a hard penis is non-existent.
Yeah.
The idea, if a guy can't make a woman come and he's like, did you come? It is the biggest punchline in the world.
Yeah.
When it goes the other way, and I only know this for sure because of this podcast, I get asked so many times, he can't get hard. What's wrong with me? He must not be attracted to me. And it's like, and maybe it's because men are cocky. Like when a woman says, it feels great, I just can't in this way.
Sure.
You go, all right.
Yeah.
I believe them every time. And that might be just too much confidence, but it never feels that we get believed in the same way.
Sure. Yeah. Where it's like, hey, it's just not right. It's not about you.
Right.
And especially the fact when she's like, he gets hard, like the make out, it's good. And then as soon as we start doing sexual stuff, it's not there. That to me sounds very much like a mental block that he
Something
has.
is off. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that he's out of, what'd you say, a 16-year marriage? That's
right.
Yeah.
What has helped you in the past?
I mean, I would,
Mr. Softy.
I'll tell you what. I got off porn, and I'm about, I want to say 8 months, and that's just a personal thing for me. It's helped a lot. And then also, I feel like at this point, you're well within your rights to maybe, if you really like the guy, I think you're within your rights to float like, hey, have we thought about Blue Chews, Cialis, Viagra, right? Therapy, yeah.
This is all part of it. I would say to her, to me, it sounds like she's like, to end this seems stupid. I think ending this right now, not the move. And I think it's the way they're talking about it. To me, that you're taking a very negative angle on something that you should be collaborators, not what the fuck is wrong here. To me, the way she wrote this email, she writes, what did she write? I'm his first relation. I consider myself a sexual person. Are we not sexually compatible despite the chemistry? Should I be patient? The problem is that it's happening more. The more we talk about it, the more stage fright he has. You're like, to me, it's like the more we, it looks like you're looking at a burning building going, Oh, it's more fire. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Like, how about someone gets out of, hey, why don't, where's the problem solving?
Yes.
Right? Where's the collaboration?
Yes.
You two need to work together. And that's kind of the fun part about this whole thing. You have a problem, which is a soft penis. How do we come together to produce a hard penis? And that is, hey, maybe we're watching porn together. Like, let's think of the positive ways we can work together to make this penis happen.
That's very true. It is. It's also, obviously, I'm laughing. We have a problem as a soft penis. Is one of the funnier sentences I've heard. But also, like, it is truly like, it sounds weird, but like, it is like a team building exercise. Right? You're a unit. If you really like this guy, it's like, hey, let's work through it. It's almost like it's not a problem that you solve. It's a problem that you treat. Right?
This is an escape room.
Yeah.
Like, if you think of good sex as finding out how to get out of an escape room,
Yeah.
then then it becomes fun. That's why people go to an escape room. No one goes to an escape room because they're like, just going to lock us up. We're going to hate this.
Yeah.
No, we get to figure out where to put the key in to make the thing get hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing about this. Like, let's live in the land of positivity, because negativity is going to breed anxiety, which is going to breed Mr. Softy. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening here. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely.
The more they talk about it, the more stressed he gets. I would get into a sex coach would be fun. Like, you guys go to like these could be fun events for you two. And when you talk about the chemistry being off the chart, that is someone that you can be open and honest with. Hey, I've never done this before. How about we do this? How about you blow them to fruition?
Yeah.
You know, like, know, where you go, tonight's blowjob night. There's no sex. And you know, again, the most miserable person in the room will go, well, what about her?
Yeah.
We'll get to her.
Sure.
Right. Her issues we'll be worried on as well. I'm not saying just because we work on the boner doesn't mean we don't work at the, the well to make it wet.
She's going to get her holes filled. Listen.
Right.
It's funny that you bring that up too, is the, like, tonight's blowjob night. I did have a friend who was like married for a long time. They weren't like, he and his wife weren't having like sex for a while, but he said like something that their therapist suggested was like, go home one night and say it's no sex night, but we are going to be physically intimate. We're going to make out, and you can't have sex. That's the rule. You can't have sex, but you have to make out. And it puts you in this position of like, well, no, I really want to have sex. Like, it stokes that fire.
Yeah, it's like Catholic school sex.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything but.
Yeah, make it forbidden again.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this is, again, totally agree. Let's get inventive. Let's get creative. Yeah. Let's talk positively to one another. Because to say, when someone says, I'm a sexual person, like, yeah, we all are. It's important to all of us in one way or another.
Get the fuck out of here. You're sexual?
You want to come in a relationship? No one said that before. It adds this level of stress to it that I totally understand. The best sex in the world has been when I have been talking it out with someone and we felt comfortable, being vulnerable and expressing kind of the crazy thoughts we had in our mind.
Yeah.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com, JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Sam Evans at Really Sam Evans. Go follow. Sweet Baby Boy is the podcast, or is the comedy album. Go search Sam Evans on anything you're streaming. We're sponsor people. Brooke Linen. Woo. Labor Day is around the corner. Isn't it crazy? Labor Day? We're here. Jeez. Summertime. It's over, baby. This is actually the best time of year. Fall, New York, I'll take that over any other season city combo in the country. Mm-hmm. Labor Day is around the corner. Brooke Linen is celebrating the end of summer with a sale. Ooh, free money, people. Just in time to stock up on cozy, high-quality bedding towels and more before the leaves begin to fall. Brooke Linen works directly with suppliers and passes the savings on to you. That means incredible products at a reasonable price. Brooke Linen launches new products, colors, and patterns all the time. Sheets, towels, and robes pop with bold colors and adventurous prints. If you've been waiting to splurge on big-ticket items like their weighted comforter or insanely soft linen sheets, Brooke Linen's Labor Day sale is the perfect opportunity to save big. Brooke Linen's online quiz helps you find the perfect set of sheets, towels, and cozy robes for the fall. I love it. They've personalized something that you wouldn't think would need to be personalized. They're making things exactly to your specifications. I love love that. And also, Brooklinen, sometimes you have these sponsors, you're like, oh, that's like a podcasty sponsorship. You're not sure of the, how great it is. I'll tell you this. My mom is constantly bothering me for Brooklyn and stuff. So it has made it into good enough for mom world, which means it's really good. Don't forget to head over to Brooklinen to save on high-quality home essentials this Labor Day. Can't wait to save? Visit brooklinen.com today and use promo code JTrain20 for $20 off plus free shipping on your purchase of $100. That's BROOKLINEN.com, promo code JTrain20. How much do I push her? Well, not too much. Hey, man, new listener of the podcast, but been a fan of your comedy since I saw you in Nashville last year. Love listening to and learning from all your advice you give listeners. Now for my email. I've been dating a girl I met in college for nearly 8 months now. We were good friends for over a year before we started dating, and I was fortunate enough to start dating her after admitting my feelings and slowly easing into a dating relationship. This is like the dream of any friend-zoned person.
Absolutely.
Right. We are going to be seniors in college. We are currently doing distance because we are doing summer internships in different city. Okay. So this is summer before senior year. You got a girlfriend that you got because you were in the friend zone and you made it out, and now anxiety because you're far away from one another. I get because that's why I'm assuming anxiety. That the only reason to write in here.
Sure.
I'm hoping to get your perspective on how to approach conversation around planning for after college. We have both expressed that we're interested in being together post-grad and that we see a future with each other. With my current job situation, it's looking like I'll end up in Chicago following graduation. She is interning in another city but doesn't really like her work experience she's having. But she likes the city she's in. This summer, going distance has been fine so far as we've both visited each other once, but it would be very difficult if we ended up in different cities following graduation. She's expressed that she likes Chicago following a recent visit, but isn't a fan of the cold, and this is a potential deal breaker for her. We also wouldn't live together if she moved here because we both agree we're too young for that move. How much do I push her to apply for jobs and move to the same city as me after graduation? What are the conversations we need to be having? I don't like the idea of her moving to the same city just for me, but at the same time, there are lots of jobs and opportunities here for both of us, so we could easily end up here together. What do you think, Sam Evans?
That's a really good question. I mean, I'd say, first of all, if you wanted to move to Chicago, get her to keep coming to Chicago during the summer and fall, because that is a fucking fun town to hang out.
I would put it behind New York. Yeah. I just said New York in the fall.
In the fall, sure.
Best combination, but Chicago summer, it's on that list. Great town.
Yeah, I get her point, the brutal cold, which is why I think you have to sell how fun of a town it is outside of that,
I think we're putting the cart before the horse. Mm-hmm. He is summer before senior year of college.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy. You are way too far ahead. I don't think you should mention her situation at all. I think you need to worry about yourself. Here's the thing about happiness after college. It's tough to come by because you are unsure of where this is all going. The minute you graduate college, you go from a lifetime of study the material, take the test, get the grade you deserve, to never getting graded on anything ever. And not knowing if you're doing okay, if you're going in the right direction. It's a ton of anxiety, and it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
And the better, when you feel good is when you're working hard and producing and making money and being able to cover your expenses. That is when you are at your best self at that young age. Let her find her job. She needs to find her way just in the same way he needs to find her way. Their relationship, you're 22, 21 right now. You're so worried about a year from now that you're not worried about just having fun with your new girlfriend.
Yeah. I actually immediately am going to jump on board with that. Yeah. Because it is, I forget when he says like graduating college, I'm like, yeah, so you're moving into adulthood. And then I think about me graduating college. I'm like, oh, I didn't know shit from dick.
Nothing.
And dick from shit.
Right.
Yeah. And respectfully.
Right.
You seem like a good, you got a job lined up. There. Yeah. Yeah. And the best thing that you can do in terms of like long-term relationship planning ahead is that make it as fun as it can possibly be now. Give the relationship value from her viewpoint by being that great guy, really fun, enjoying your time together.
This is so the perspective of someone who's like so happy they're in a relationship that they're going to squeeze it too hard that they're going to strangle it.
Yes, you're killing, what is it, the rabbit?
Right.
You're Lenny from Mice and Men.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy, you got to the kind of the mountaintop, as we said in the beginning. Like, you know, you were friends.
Yeah.
You expressed your feelings. They were like, let's give this a shot.
Yeah,
You're doing
hats
long
off.
distance. And now you're like, well, this next thing is gonna... I've been saying this a lot to myself lately. I've had some anxiety lately, and I've repeated a mantra. And I'm going to give this mantra to this person. We'll figure it out when it comes.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing you can do about this now. Let her find her job. He asked, how hard do I push? You shouldn't push at all. You should figure out your life. You should figure out what makes you happy, because when you're happy, we will all be happy. So this moment will come. You will graduate. You will move. She will move. And then at that moment, you will make the decisions as they come.
Yeah.
You can do nothing about it now except, and all you're going to do is just ruin a good thing bringing this up all the time. You have a year.
Yeah.
Right? And then also, things change. I don't like winter. Now you like winter. Oh, I miss having snow. I miss seasons.
Yeah.
These things change.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't overthink it.
Right?
Just breathe.
That's the thing. I would be so mad. I mean, I'm looking back. We have the pleasure of looking back. Like, your senior year, you're going to spend the nights going, where's she going to move? You'll figure it out. And here's the thing. You'll probably break up. if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
You'll probably go to different cities and say to yourself, oh my God, I got to figure out my life. I don't know if we're in the right relationship. I got to get away from a relationship.
Sure.
Enjoy this while you can.
Yeah. And sincerely, people say this a lot, but it is like, it's not bullshit, especially in this scenario where it's like, if it's meant to be, it'll...
I know. That's the worst thing to hear, too.
Sure.
And you go, but that's kind of we'll take care of it when it comes.
Yeah,
you know, that
absolutely.
And I'm saying to this person, if I was talking to someone, if I was dating someone, they're like, well, what are we going to do after senior year? It's like, let me fucking sit here and have senioritis for five fucking seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're that fun, kind guy now who's just like, I just want to enjoy you and I want to enjoy being with you without too much expectation, then she will, if nothing else, always think of that fondly.
That's also how you get to know each other.
Yeah.
You cannot get to know each other while discussing how you're going to be near each other.
Yeah, because it's still new.
Right.
Yeah.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Patiently impatient. It was Sam Evans, @really Sam Evans. Sweet Baby Boy. That's the comedy album. Go listen. Jared, Feather. Let's get into it. 27 female. I met a man, 34 male. At work, he was giving a presentation at my company, and I slid into the professional text, which then moved to his personal number. We texted, met up for a night out to watch the Stanley Cup game the Sunday after we met. Had a great time, kissed, and that was that. Since then, we have been texting, snap, and text daily, but it has stayed as general small talk and not any true get-to-know-you conversations. In my opinion, we had a great first date, but he hasn't made any plans going forward. I'm annoyed, not turned off yet, but his lack of making a plan going forward, I want to text him and say some version of, hey, I really enjoy talking to you, and I can potentially see more moving forward, but there needs to be some plans made instead of just being pen pals. If not, then we can move back to a professional relationship. I have little patience and just want to send it, but have others telling me to just let him chase you. But I'm sick of waiting around and want what I want, or to move on. What do you think I should do? Sincerely, make a plan or move on. What do you think, Sam Evans?
I think if he's, this might be harsh, I think if he's not making plans, he's not that into it, right?
There's something up.
Yeah.
I especially for this long. The Stanley Cup, I mean, what month is it? You know, like I don't know when this was sent in, but...
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
But also, when we're considering time, it's been long enough for you to notice it.
Yeah.
So that's long enough. When someone goes, is it long enough? No. You noticed it.
Yeah.
You're there.
Yeah. You're not
it's
crazy.
long enough.
Yeah.
You're not crazy.
Yeah.
What do you think they should do?
I think you're within your right to, without being too demanding, you can just lay it out there and be like, hey, I like you, but I'm not getting a vibe that it's reciprocal or not. If it is, ask me out, man. You know, like, I think you can lay it out there.
I think here's where I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you some knowledge. Your friends are not good at advice. They're not.
Yeah.
They when someone says to you, just let them chase you, they're saying to themselves as much as they're saying it to you. They want to believe that they're the person that was chased, and let them chase you. When people say let them chase you, I think they're the dumbest people out there.
Yeah.
Because that is not good advice. That is, you're just a bag in the wind. Just go. Because that is, you're saying to them, I'm stressed out. And they go, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And you go, well, I'm still worried about it.
Yeah, and it takes, when you're saying let him chase you, what they're saying is like, don't have any agency. It's like, no, you're allowed to make decisions about this.
Well,
right?
This is the point that I'm trying to. You can have agency. You have control over your own life. Let them chase you. Oh, you should go to a supermarket. That's how you meet someone. Oh, put on some eyeliner. Shut up.
Yeah.
All of that bad advice. He needs to chase your standards. You saying, I want a date is a standard. You have laid it out. You said, here you go. Meet me at here.
Yeah.
I think her text that she proposed is perfect. Hey, I'm having a great time. So you're positive.
Yeah.
You're saying, I'm enjoying all this, but I'd like to see you out in person.
Yeah.
Make that happen, or we have to stop talking romantically.
Sure.
He either makes it happen or he doesn't. And now, and then you go, your standard was met. You have let him know, these are the rules of seeing me. I got to see you in person. I'm not going to text with you all day.
Yeah, and the yes or the no is irrelevant at that point, right?
Right.
You have made the decision. He can react however, but you will be fine. You know? And then you aren't in this weird no man's land.
Right, and sometimes you're just being nice to someone to get to the thing you want.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I understand these texts, hey, how was your weekend? You don't care how the fucking weekend was. You don't want to say, weekend was great. You don't want to write that text. You're being nice because you want to see them out in person.
Yeah.
And there's a point where you go, I'm so tired of talking about my weekend. I just want to see them in person. And you got to go, hey, I'm done with how my weekend was.
Yeah.
The big reveal.
Yes.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. We're sponsored. Good health starts with good habits. Quip makes it easy by delivering all the oral care essentials you need to care for your mouth. Their wireless electric toothbrush is lightweight and compact. It packs away easily so you can always have it on the go. I love Quip. Here's why I love Quip. They've taken all the things that you use to take care of your mouth, and they've made them accessible. They've made them easy to use. They've made them form to your body so that you're not take for example, they have a great floss, and you just it comes with a little handlebar, and you click in and you use it, and now it's no more tying around the fingers and where'd the floss go. No, everything Quip makes is about making a utility better for you and your life. And that's why I love it. Like the electric toothbrush, I bring it everywhere I go. Toss it in the bag. It's ready to go. Charged. It's got the battery in there. No plugging in. Quip's gentle vibrations give you effective clean that's easy on your sensitive gums. Never brush too hard ever again. Here's the other thing. We're around the same age, 37, 36. I think our generation is obsessed with efficiency. I want to do the right thing and know it was the right thing. Like Google Maps. We Google, how long is the walk? And we follow that little dotted trail the whole way because we know that's the most efficient way to get there because a satellite in the sky is telling us. Same with Quip. Quip has, you turn it on and it does a little bzz so you do the 4 quadrants of your mouth. You're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. So it goes, you brush top right, and then you get a little zap at 30 seconds. Okay, switch. Okay, switch. Okay, switch. Now you know I am brushing to the maximum efficiency. That's where Quip comes in. If you go to getquip.com/JTrain right now, you'll get your first refill free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/JTrain, spelled GETQUIP.com/JTrain. Quip, the good habits company. I'd say it's the good efficiency company. Let's keep doing emails. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Sam Evans @ReallySamEvans. Fuck girl energy. You brought up being your fuckboy ways. What would you consider a fuck girl?
A fuck girl? That's really interesting.
Does it exist?
It's very debatable. They exist.
They exist.
Sure. Just a lady who's down to clown, right?
I would say I guess fuck them, fuck person.
Sure.
Is anyone who's wasting, making you believe that
there's something deeper
while getting what they want.
Sure. Yeah.
Or the ability to be something deeper while getting something they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, if I was to think of, to make a generalization, anytime I felt I was in a fuck girl situation, it wasn't that they were using me for sex. It wasn't like, hey, I got this guy that I can call at any time that will fuck me, and then he wants me to be, then he won't meet my parents. I don't think that's the fuck girl way.
Yeah.
Like generally, when I hear fuck girl, I would assume, oh, you are there for them in every way, and they don't want to have sex with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's Jared, an esteemed guest. I'm currently writing this from the airport lounge in Cartagena. Luxury complaint. There's no beer here. Okay. Cartagena, though, that became like Tulum-ish. It was very much a place people went to.
Yeah.
The reason I say this is because we just ran into the 15 very attractive Dutch dudes at the airport who we met on a night out in Cartagena. My friend and I ended up hooking up with 2 of the dudes for the weekend and hanging with the group. It was nonstop fun. Love it. My friend and I were talking, and we were saying how the guys kind of give off fuckboy energy, but then we had the realization, are we fuck girls? Wait a minute. Or maybe we're the thing we despise the most.
The call was coming from inside the house.
But then we thought,
Oh my.
but have we become the monster that we hated so much? And by fuck girl, I mean a single girl who participates in hookup culture frequently. See, I don't know. No, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
Based on what we just talked about, because the idea that, like, here's the thing, and this is living in the land of generalities, right? Because you go, listen, this sounds bad, but I guess this podcast is about being comfortable enough to say things that might sound bad. But when guys aren't sitting there being like, I gotta get married. My clock is running up. I don't want to waste my time. You don't hear a lot of guys say, I don't want to waste my time.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there hooking up, you're not pushing aside something that they want to get something you want.
Yes, which is the general agreed fuckboy move.
Right.
Right? Yeah, so it's very hard in that similar way to put a man in that position. Very few of us are staying up at night going like, well, what is she, what is this?
Right.
You don't lose a lot of sleep.
Here's the thing. And I don't want to sound, I don't care how I sound. I care how I sound, but the guy taking you to the $200 dinner, and you're like, I gotta eat dinner somehow. Yeah. That's the fear, kind of, to be taken advantage of in that way.
Yes. Yeah.
That is where you go, why would she go to dinner with me? Oh, maybe she's taking advantage of me because she wants to go to a nice dinner. Sure. And that's like a very old school way of thinking about it, I guess. But that's where the fear leads more than,
sure, is
she using me for my body?
Yeah. And also, I'll say, it doesn't not happen,
Right.
It exists, right?
Right. No, but the idea that, like, you could go out with someone and they just want a boyfriend. They don't care who it is.
Sure.
And you're like, what? Am I into this? Am I in love with someone who's in love with just having the title?
Yeah.
That could be somewhere where I would feel. They write, so my question is, can guys sense when a woman is giving off fuck girl energy? And if so, how would you go about changing this energy if and when the fuck girls are looking for something more serious? I realize when you're on vacation, you're more loose and maybe give off different vibe, but I'm talking about in normal circumstances. Would love to hear your perspective. Signed Chaos in Cartagena. We're giving a lot of these answers just in us talking about this right now.
Yeah.
But here's where I would say that it's funny where she's in her email. The answer sometimes in the email. If so, how would you go about changing this energy if and when the fuck girls are looking for something more? Yeah. Again, she is writing, are we fuck girls so we won't get a long-term relationship?
Yeah.
And it's like, now you're wondering, to me, you've misplaced your question.
Sure.
Because you're basically saying, could I be seen as anything else but someone that they just hooked up with? And it's like, that is, I mean, I'm almost confusing myself, but it's like, you're worried, is this guy a fuckboy because I fucked him?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I would say to her, my best advice for anyone having a fun time hooking up, like for this woman, I live by this motto: just because I have doesn't mean I will.
Sure.
And I think that's a very positive way to look at sex. Just because I have had sex with you doesn't mean I will have sex with you. Sure. And for this woman, if you met these Dutch guys and you sucked off a couple of cocks and had a great time, and then you said to them, well, we're all happy for you.
Yeah.
We're good for you. And then the guy came back and was like, hey, in his wooden clogs, and was like, hey, I want another blowjob. And you were like, well, I would love to go to dinner.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. You're the fuck girl.
Then he says it exactly like that. But you are the fuck girl.
But you are where I put the cum. Like, if he said that, you would have to say, I'm not dealing with you anymore.
Yeah, you never stop dictating the terms, right? And that goes true. That's true for either party, right? So at any point in time, you can be like, yeah, I did. Yeah, exactly like what you're saying. Just because I have doesn't mean I will. I am this person today, but tomorrow I am this person who suddenly wants a more serious thing.
Right. That was Cartagena me.
Yeah.
Cartagena me throws a digit in your asshole while blowing you.
Yeah, listen, we're all fuckboys in Cartagena.
Right. New York me
Yeah.
wants to go on a date, wants to meet your parents, wants to go, to go somewhere. I understand that.
Yeah.
And I think she has to own that, like, this is the thing. And it's, I say this to the women listening. They want on-off switches so much. Oh, that was my hoe phase. Now I'm in my serious phase.
Yeah.
None of these guys you're dealing with are doing that. Mm-hmm. None of these guys aren't like, man, I really got wild in Cartagena. They would be wild no matter where they went.
Sure. Yeah.
So, again, you have to dictate the terms, as Sam just said. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to go, that was fun. I love that.
Yeah.
But, now I do that when someone takes me out.
Yeah.
And wants to get to know me, the person behind the Cartagena party girl that you saw.
Yeah. And that's never unfair. You're never being an asshole. Like, you're allowed to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. We're sponsored. Ooh, Factor. Okay. Factor is, I love Factor. Okay. It is gourmet meals, and it makes eating at home easy, quick, nutritious, delicious. Man, when people in the ad agencies figured out that nutritious and delicious rhymed, were they like, game over for these people?
He's just running in. I got it. I got it.
Holy shit, we found the key. It's nutritious and delicious. You want both of those things. We got them. Factor has it in spades. I'll say this. Here's my eating issue. When I eat, I keep eating. I need a beginning, middle, and end to my meal. I also want new, inventive flavors. And when you're healthy and you cook for yourself, I guess I'll do grilled chicken and broccoli because that's easy to make. I'll throw the broccoli in the micro. I'll make the chicken on the pan, and then I'm done. And then you do it 3 nights in a row, and the 4th night you go, fuck it. I'm going to eat everything. Factor makes it so you're not doing the same thing every night. You're getting new, delicious meals, and they're nutritious. And you know the portions. Many of you are cooking for one. Sad you. You loser. You have nobody. And nothing is harder than going to the grocery store and buying for one.
It's very sad.
It's sad because you can't get the cilantro because you're not going to eat that much cilantro.
Never.
To make one dish. That's where Factor comes in. You're going to get the cilantro. You're going to get the delicious ingredients that would be too much for you to buy for one or two, even two. Mm-hmm. So I just love they offer vegan and veggie meals, keto meals, calorie smart options, cold pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, extra protein, veggie sides, and more to keep you fueled and focused all day long. I have Factor. It's delicious. It's wonderful. Head to go.factor75.com/JTrain130. This is a very confusing website. I'm going to say it again. Go.factor75.com/JTrain130. Use code JTrain130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes. That's code JTrain130 at go.factor75.com/JTrain130 for $130 off. That's a lot of money. I love that. And you're getting delicious, nutritious, beautiful meals. Dating apps in a conservative state. Ohio, I would say that's a down the middle state, right? They go back and forth, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
it's
it
a genuine swing state.
Swing state.
Yeah.
It's a big state too.
Yeah, bigger than people think.
Way bigger. I know it's big just by fact that I've gone to. You go to Cincinnati to do shows. You go to Dayton to do shows, and then you go to Dayton. They go, come to Cleveland. You're like, isn't that Ohio? Mm-hmm. You know, you have to travel the 4 corners. Jared and Guest, love the pod. Your take on dating. I'm a very liberal 30-year-old female living in one of the most conservative states in the country. I live in one of the larger cities, but there's not a large group of liberals in the single 30-something male sector. I've also noticed men either don't fill out their political affiliation on the apps or aren't usually the greatest at making their profiles helpful in determining if we align on meaningful values, unless they count golf as one, LOL, which I do not. And admittedly, I haven't been the best at this either. Well, I would also say one is just not fun and the other is fun. Mm-hmm. Hey, I play golf. That's what I like to do. You know, politics, I love this email because there's a lot in the way she wrote it where I go, this is tough because it's very important to her. Mm-hmm. And I think for a lot of people, let me speak for men, especially on dating apps, they're like, we just want to have fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
You know, like I might, and I don't, I think of someone like, you know, and most people, the internet will tell you otherwise, but most people aren't walking around with their MAGA hats and they're waving the American flag being like, fuck you, woke pussies. Like that's not most people.
Yeah.
Most people answer the questions once they're asked.
Sure. They're not leading with, let me tell you what.
Right. Yeah. And you find out quickly from some people more than others.
Sure. Yeah.
I went on a date with a woman and beautiful. And I was like very attracted to her. And we didn't talk much before we did the cursory stuff. And then I was like, let's go. And we went and met. And then we're on the date. And I'm like, slowly realizing, I'm like, well, this person's very conservative.
Yeah.
And I'm like in New York. You're kind of shocked. Yeah. Like most people,
it's a surprise,
right? The conservative people in New York City, they're generally the socially liberal, fiscally conservative types. Like when I meet them, I go, I know. And then they're the types that like, I just know what I'm dealing with. This was like more right than I could have imagined, especially from a woman, and I go, I was more just like shocked. And I was like, and it took the date to kind of figure that out. And I was like, I don't think we're going to mesh in this way. Not even because I'm like this, the person describing themselves, I would describe myself less liberal than them probably. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm making assumptions because these words carry so much weight.
Sure.
Yeah. With your girlfriend, are you finding out if you're politically inclined similar? Have you disagreed yet? You guys are a new relationship.
Never disagreed, but we have we're starting to have the more nuanced conversations. We know, obviously we're both in New York, so pretty left leaning, both of us. But like having like different nuanced conversations about like different individual issues,
right?
Within you know, our woke liberal pussiness. But speaking to that, like, even if you're on the same side of the aisle, you know, whichever, like, you are going to have these nuanced conversations where you're like, oh, I actually feel this way about this thing. And then there's like a small, it's a pretty easy thing to get over, but you're like, I kind of feel this way, you know? And I feel like if you're with a reasonable person, they're like, okay.
Also, there's people who don't think of politics at all when they go into dating. And I would say men especially.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, you know, Roe Wade getting overturned, you know, there's, you know, a lot of men were like, oh,
yeah,
I didn't think that could happen.
Yeah.
That was kind of the reaction from a lot of men. And you go, and then, you know, to maybe this person that would be like, are you fucking, like, that would enrage certain people.
Sure.
I would understand that.
Yeah. And it just, and speaking like that, obviously, like, if you're like a woman going into a dating situation like that, obviously hot off Roe versus Wade being overturned, I get it, where you're like, you better fucking say you're upset, you piece of shit. I get it.
Right. And, you know, we're two straight white men talking about this. Like, that would enrage some people.
Sure.
You have no take.
Yeah. You will listen. You are here to listen.
I'm here to listen. I'll listen. I would like to find a long-term partner whose values are largely aligned with mine. Does he also have to identify as very liberal? No. Does he have to value women having the right to an abortion, for example? Yes. Right. And it's funny that, like, the idea of putting that on your dating profile, a guy would be like, well, what the fuck would I put that for? That seems weird to put on there. And this woman's like, I just want to know before I go out.
Sure.
You know, she's kind of asking to be able to Google people.
Yeah.
Like, she's looking, you know, because with that, I'm considering adding a Hinge prompt response about my beliefs and values. I hesitate, though, because is that too aggressive and serious and overshadows my fun, chill side? Yeah, I would say it does a little. Dating is supposed to be fun. The first date is supposed to be light, but many of the social issues occurring I am very passionate about, and I feel like I can no longer sit back and not express that it matters to me and is a large part of who I am. I totally understand where she's coming from.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on adding a prompt response with this, and any suggestion for how to go about it that would show I value equality and human rights for all, pro-choice, stricter gun laws? Well, some of these, you know, stricter gun laws is one thing, but, like, I want human rights for all. It's like when those restaurants have, like, we're gay friendly. It's like, where are the gay not friendly restaurants?
Yeah.
We hate them. Stay out. Like, you don't see that sign.
Get out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's base level. I think she's combined a lot of things where there's a few things I think she can do, but pro-choice, stricter gun laws against banning books, you know, like, while still keeping it fun or positive. Thanks for your input and advice. Sincerely, Bernie Betch, wading through a bunch of Cancun cruises. Well, I love this email. It's a very relevant issue. What do you think?
Where is the big banning books contingent on a dating site? Where are the men? Even the conservative men are like, let me tell you the books I want to ban.
Right. But I understand she is in no way wrong for this question. It sounds like she's in Texas. It sounds like she might be in a certain area of the country. And I feel for her, because it's like, and especially now, like, politics is like, you know, it's entertainment for people. You know, MSNBC and Fox News are entertainment stations. Like,
absolutely.
So, like, the idea that this is a hobby today is not that surprising.
Yeah. And it sounds like the opening of the email and the subject line, it makes it sound like it's going to be like, I am absolutely liberal, and if you are not,
right,
get out of here. And that's not actually the case. I think it is.
I have an issue with this.
Especially...
Am I okay here? There we go. Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It sounds like it's especially the hot button issue is Roe versus Wade being overturned and, like, access to an abortion. And I feel like if that is, like, your make or break one, then I understand that you don't want to waste time on a date, right.
And this is also very much our generation, wasting time. Sure. I want to know the restaurant I'm going to. I want to see what the appetizers are.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to have her, like, night ruined, being like, I can't believe I came here to meet a guy I thought I was going to maybe date, and now we're debating if I have the right to make a decision over my body.
Sure.
Because that's what it sounds like she's trying to avoid. And I don't blame her because no one wants that.
Yeah.
He doesn't want that. You don't want that. So I don't, there are fun ways to put this in a profile. I do think, I am all for positivity and fun in dating profiles. I think it's okay to have prompts that push people away, but also if they push it, life is gravity. It will bring people in.
Yeah.
So I think when she goes down the road of human rights and book bannings, let's take one thing that you could never talk to that person, and let's make one prompt about that. And I think what you said is right.
Yeah.
Roe Wade. If Roe Wade didn't ruin your day, please don't talk to me.
Sure.
Fun fact about me: Roe Wade has ruined my year.
Yeah.
And I think that's Shelby just looked up. No. What do you think? What? Shelby's angry. This political discussion.
I mean, I get where she's coming from with that. Like, it's like, okay, there should be a way to put it, but then not be like performative. Right.
There is a performative nature.
True,
but the thing is, everyone thinks everything's performative now. Like, you can't do anything with, they're trying to show. I don't know. To me.
Anybody I know that actually, like, has done, like, canvassing work, like, put their blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, but not put, like, Roe v. Wade.
Sure. But I would say the canvassing people, I don't know. I think there's got to be a fun, jokey way to be like, hey, if you come in me, I want to be able to decide that I can get rid of that baby.
I think you can also even just be like, hey, this is an issue that I just can't budge on. I believe in my access to like healthcare and all of that. And you could even just throw in also, I swear to God, I'm fun. Like you can just be like, I'm not going to be this cold, like,
right. Well, there's also a way where you say one thing and people can assume other things. But like if you say like, I'm, I don't know if you say, I don't think writing Bernie Betch is the way to go, but like I don't know. I think that's a fun way to go. I'm also fun. I'm not out here.
Yeah.
I'm yet to knit a pussy hat.
Yeah.
Like that's a fun way to say like I'm into this, but I'm not. I would say to this person though, whatever you write, make it fun. Choose one thing because that will tell you everything else. And also, you're going to talk to people you disagree with. That is just baseline. And here's the other thing. The men that you're most worried about are the ones that don't care. I'm most worried about. The men that would suck the most are the ones that would see the fun thing you wrote and still not connect that to how important it is to you, because that's the thing you're going to encounter. You can't avoid heartbreak. You can't avoid these annoying people on dating apps. You can't avoid someone you disagree with. And I'm sorry to give you that information, but I would say I would use the prompts to say something that would drive this person that you don't want to see away, because it will bring in the type of people you're looking to meet.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Sam Evans at Really Sam Evans. Where are we time-wise? 105? Oh, so let's do one more. We'll do one more. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do one more. I love this one. All right, it's our last one anyways. Okay, let's do it. Jealous fiance. Do you feel any jealousy towards the new woman you're dating? That's usually jealousy starts, I think, in the beginning. Fiance.
So far, no. Which I was interested to see, especially because I did the way my last relationship ended. I was like, I wonder if that's going to be like a new issue for me.
How did the last one end?
Just like ex developing feelings for someone else,
Interesting.
And
was it an old relationship?
Not an old relationship, but like a friend. And I have a relatively long leash. That's probably poor terminology, but like a long leash in terms of like, I think you either trust somebody or you don't, right?
Right.
So like talk to whoever. I
and then
trust
you tug that woman's leash.
Yeah, just get back here. But you gotta
Did you
let him
see it happening before your eyes?
No, I was pretty blindsided by it. So I was like, God, I wonder if this is going to be an issue I carry with me now.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm so
A little
worried.
bit of trauma from that.
Yeah. But so far,
when your ex was like becoming friends with this person, you were just like, that's a just cool guy. You got to know them.
yeah, I was like, it's good, especially because, I was just like trusting,
But that's the thing. I mean, as I said before, you can't avoid things happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta play in traffic if you want to get hit.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways. Hit in the good way, hit in the bad way. That situation, you're like, yeah, go have fun with it.
Yeah.
That's your friend.
Sure, absolutely.
And then that's what it is.
Blows up in your face sometimes.
Yeah. But even that, there's a positive way to look at it where you go, oh, good.
Yeah.
I could have been with that person. We married kids.
Yeah.
Then they make a friend.
That's very, yeah.
Right?
I'm like, well, this is more complicated.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Feather, I'm coming to you as an engaged woman with a problem. My fiance, we've been together for 3 years, gets very jealous when I'm around straight men. I attend an annual festival of twins and multiples every year, and my fiance doesn't trust me around other men, especially while I'm there for the weekend. I'm working on gaining his trust again after some hiccups in our relationship, but I can't seem to get him to understand I would never do anything to jeopardize our relationship. Recently, I had a girlfriend reach out asking if I could help her good guy friend get out and meet new friends in the city I live in. I invited this guy out with a group of my girl pals this coming week, and my fiance keeps mumbling under his breath about how I will probably want to be with him and how odd it is that I'm trying to be friends with this guy. I love my fiance with all my heart, and I cannot seem to get him to understand I would never cheat on him. I've done a few things for him to not trust me, but we've worked through them and talked it out, but it keeps coming back to haunt me. I can't seem to get him to realize he shouldn't be jealous and just trust me. Oy vey, this is a consistent struggle we have, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better, and nothing I can do get him to trust me or have these worries. Is there anything I can do? And nothing I can, hold on. Oy vey, this is a consistent struggle, and we have. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And nothing I do can get him to trust me or have these worries. Thank you for all you do. What do you think?
Two things. I wonder. She does say there are things I have done to make him not trust me, but we've worked through them.
Those aren't done. You haven't worked through them.
Yeah.
Those are there. Those are scars.
Yeah.
And she doesn't give us the details, but like.
So it could be anything.
Well, I would say it's worse than she said it, because this email is written in the key of me. This is.
It's a really good thing. Yeah.
It's a Tony Kornheiser line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it because there's 3 sides to every story. There's her side, his side, and the truth. Sure. Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I would say she's writing very kindly to herself when you say, I've done things in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think those things, she's admitting fault.
Yeah. If the thing is some sort of cheating, then it's like, well, he's not being insane, I think.
I don't think he's crazy at all. I don't trust her email. I'm sorry to take his side,
sure.
But when I hear, even the story, if I've been cheated on by someone, and then they're just cool with inviting a straight guy on a girls trip, why wasn't the husband invited?
Yeah.
Why wasn't he introduced to the guy?
Yeah.
Oh, we're just having fun. And it's like they do this thing, especially when people want to make you feel like you're overreacting, which it sounds like she may be doing. And I'm sorry to not just go along with her. And I might be, and I'm not enough. I'm a pretty trusting guy. Like I'm okay. I'm the same thing. Go with your fucking friend. Cool.
Yeah.
But you can always feel when someone is keeping you in one place and someone else in another.
Yes.
And it's like if someone said to me, like, and when you become a couple, you become a we. You become, hey, I got a new friend moving to the city. Will you guys go out with him? It's weird that the friend goes, will you go out with him to meet new people?
Yeah.
And it's like, no. When someone talks to me, it's us guys, the relationship, the couple becomes a team. When I text my friends, hey, what are you guys doing? When they're married, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Right? Do you have plans this weekend? I think of them as both parties are kind of involved. So if I'm him, I would feel a little weirded out that, And she might say, well, I did invite him. How did the invite happen?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I also wonder, this is another, coming from another viewpoint, but like, what is your fiance's like state of self-confidence, right? Because if I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt and it's all above board and the things I've done are like, oh, I didn't realize that would make you feel jealous.
Right.
Then I would say, to me, it sounds like a confidence issue from your fiance, right?
Absolutely.
This guy is like threatened immediately by any other man. It's like, instead of reassuring him like, oh, I would never do that. That's the thing where it's like, you need to like build this guy up a little bit.
Right. And that, again, I'm not saying she's allowed to be unattracted to the jealousness and say that it's pushing her away. And at that point, you have to take some ownership of how you feel and go, hey, I'm unattracted to this and it's pushing me away and I might have to break up with you because of this.
Sure, yeah.
And if you're not doing that, then you're not really taking ownership of this whole thing.
Yeah. And recognize that that's not, it might not be something that gets better. You know what I mean? If you're going to marry this guy, you need to try to think about, is this something that he can work on and you can work through with him?
Right.
Or is he just pretty set in his ways? And then you have to be like, okay, well, can I live with this long term?
Right. And from his side, it's not about, when someone's like thinks you're being not trusting them, they're like, oh, you never let me have fun. It's like, no, I'm trying to grow up with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like there's events, like there are things that would make sense to me at 25 that make no sense to me at 35.
Sure.
So it's like, hey, I'm going to this rave this weekend and we're just going to like tent out at Coachella. And I would go, at 25, I go, have fun. That sounds great. Yeah. Oh, and there's a bunch of guys coming that we're going to, cool. I totally get that trip would happen. If I'm dating someone at 35 and they're like, I'm going to Coachella, I'd be like, wait, did you want to discuss this with me? And then they go, I have to discuss everything with you. It's like, well, are we growing at the same rate here?
Yeah.
We're in different places maybe.
Yeah.
She might have to admit that we're at different places of life. I'm looking to go out and have fun and meet new people. And he might not be. Meeting new people is a very 20-year-old thing to do. There's a space of life where I go, I'm done meeting new people. If it happens, it happens.
Very
Met
much
Sam
so.
today on a podcast. This is very nice.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, but there's also, I'm sure you have this sense that anytime you walk by like a club at night and you see a group of young people waiting in line to get into a club, you're like, oh, thank God.
Can't understand it.
Yeah.
Can't understand it. And then you go, and some of these are like reveals of like, I can't even understand the person I'm getting married to.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I thought we were on board. I thought we wanted to move on. I envision, like, this is the thing. He might be like, I envision marriage was like, yeah, we're going to stop going to the twin conventions.
Yeah.
We're going to stop just going out with a new dude.
Yeah.
Like, and so maybe it's you two discussing how you envision growing up. And it's okay if you envision it differently. But, like, what happens a lot of times is, oh, he doesn't want me to have fun. It's like, no, I want you to have fun the way we have fun.
Yes. Yeah.
This is tough because I think she's got to look in the mirror a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
And the idea, I've done things in the past, but we work through them. No, you still got the scar.
Yeah.
They're still going. They still remember it. It's never going away. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Sam Evans, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
At Really Sam Evans. Please go follow. Amazing comic. Hilarious. Sweet Baby Boy. That's the album.
That's the album.
Go listen to it. Streaming on all platforms. I'm Jared Freid. We're here every Monday with your emails, your stories, your questions. We'll be back next episode. Boom.